Alright, so in this video we're going to be given a quadratic function in vertex form. You will be able to identify the vertex. So simply in this video I'm going to show you how to identify the vertex when given vertex form. But first we need to know what is vertex form. Well, vertex form is when your quadratic formula looks like this. Y equals a times x minus h squared plus k. So you're asking yourself, what are all those crazy letters doing there? Well, the y and the x are familiar to you. The a was also in our standard form of a quadratic function. The new letters to us are h and k, and funny enough, that's what we're going to use to determine our vertex. And the vertex, again, is either the maximum or minimum of your parabola. Alrighty, so let's figure out what the vertex is hk. Remember, it's a point. It's a coordinate point. It's hk. Now, if you notice, up in our equation, we have minus h here. However, we just have an h here. And we have plus k here. And we have a k here. The h is we're going to need to do a little something extra with the h. No big deal. And then we're going to just use the straight up k that's at the end of your equation. So let's do some practice. So again, my first equation is negative 2 times the quantity x minus 2 squared plus 1. So we're going to use our h and our k. Remember, just a second ago I said we have to do something to our h. This number inside here is negative 2, but I want to take the, see, this is negative 8 opposite of h. They went to the opposite of h here. So I want to take the opposite of the number inside the parentheses. So instead of negative 2, it's going to be positive 2. So we'll take opposite. We're going to take the opposite of that one. This one right here we're going to keep. So since it's positive, we're going to keep it positive. 2, 1. In the next equation, we have the quantity x plus 2 squared plus 1. We have 2 is our h, and 1 is our k. So again, I told you we do the opposite of this. And we're going to keep this number. So the opposite of positive 2 is negative 2. And we keep the positive 1 just as it is. So my vertex of this graph would be negative 2, 1. In the next equation, I have 3 times the quantity x plus 2 squared minus 1. My h is 2, and my k is negative 1. So again, I take the opposite of what's inside here. The positive 2 turns to a negative 2, and here I keep the negative 1. In my next equation, I have 5 times the quantity x minus 7 squared plus 2. So my h is 7, and here's my k. So again, I take the opposite of negative 7, and I just said my h is 7, and I keep my positive 2. Don't do any changing there. hk. In my next equation, I have the opposite of the quantity x minus 3 squared plus 14. hk. Remember, I take the opposite of what's inside here, so the negative 3 turns to a positive 3, and the positive 14 stays as a positive 14. In my next equation, I have negative 6 times the quantity x minus 8 squared minus 2. We have our h, we have our k. Again, I take the opposite of the negative 8, turning it to positive 8, and I keep negative 2 as is. That would be the vertex of my graph, 8, negative 2. In my next equation, I have the quantity x plus 4 squared plus 6. H is here, 6 or k is there. So again, I take the opposite of what's inside here. That turns to a negative 4. This remains a positive 6, and that is my vertex, negative 4, 6. And in my very last example, I have the opposite of the quantity of x plus 4 squared minus 4. Here's my h, and here's my k. I take the opposite of what's inside there, so the positive 4 turns to a negative 4, and the negative 4 over here remains the same. Now it's your turn to practice.